Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? Though it was already February, the weather hadn't warmed up, and the past few days were even colder, with overcast skies and a looming threat of snow or rain. As expected, by evening, snowflakes densely fell, covering the ground in deep snow for a day and night. By the next night, the snowfall had lessened. Xiao Yunzi and Xiao Lianzi came in after clearing the courtyard of snow, their clothes damp and shivering, cursing the dreadful weather, before hurrying off to change and warm themselves by the fire. I set down the handkerchief I was embroidering and remarked, "The weather this year is truly unforgiving. It's already the time of dragon raising its head in February, yet it's still snowing. I'm afraid all the flowers and plants will be ruined." Lu Zhu laughed. "Miss, you really care for those plants. The eunuchs wrap them in straw at the end of autumn. They won't freeze." I smiled faintly, then lowered my head to continue embroidering the aureole on the handkerchief. In the distance, the faint rumble of carriage wheels approached, stirring my curiosity. Tongli Palace was secluded, seldom visited by carriages, especially at such a late hour. I looked up to see Jinxi standing solemnly, who softly informed, "Your Grace, that's the sound of the Fenghuan Spring Favor carriage." I remained silent, knowing this carriage was reserved for concubines summoned to the emperor's sleeping quarters. Listening intently, the carriage sounds grew closer, its jingling beat curtains audible in the quiet snow night, accompanied by a woman singing. The song, a newly composed palace ode, was melodious and uplifting. I listened for a while before remarking, "She sings well. No wonder the emperor granted her the title Lady of Beautiful Sounds." Xiao Yunzi whispered, "Singing loudly in Yong Lane at midnight is against palace rules." Without looking up, I replied, "This only shows the emperor's favor towards her." The room fell silent, filled only with the crackling of the coal brazier, the howling north wind outside, and the fading laughter carried by the wind. Her laughter, proud and clear, echoed through the silent snow night, weaving through the endless alleys and halls of the harem. This was my first time hearing the Fenghuan Spring Favor carriage. Its beautiful sound likely captivated many within the palace, bearing countless hopes, disappointments, tears, and laughter of the women within. Many evenings were spent by them quietly waiting in courtyards, hoping for the carriage to stop at their door. As a child, I listened to a tutor recite Du Mu's verses about the Afang Palace under my brother's window. The lines thunderous surprise as the palace carriage passes. Its rumble fades into the distance, unknown where it goes. Each lady's grace and beauty standing afar, hoping for favor. Those unseen for 36 years. 36 years could be a lifetime for many. In the palace, beauty is commonplace, with new faces constantly emerging. But what most of these women are accustomed to is merely standing afar, hoping for favor. Without the emperor's favor, they are like lifeless dolls, vulnerable to even a stray autumn breeze. And those favored, their lives are not necessarily carefree, constantly fearing loss of favor, aging, and the emergence of newer beauties. Without love, the emperor's favor is no more lasting than paper. Love is perhaps the rarest in the vast imperial harem. Many seek the emperor for status, luxury, or favor, but who for love? Feeling a headache from these thoughts, I asked Huan Bai. "The smell of the coal is unpleasant, making my head ache. Bring some sinking incense instead." Huan Bai hesitated. "Your Grace, this month's incense hasn't arrived yet. It's been delayed for several days. Shall I send someone to inquire?" I knew it was likely the household department skimping on my allotment, taking advantage of my lack of favor. The recent heavy snow might have caused their delay. "Never mind, just light whatever incense we have for now." As Huan Bai hurried out, she suddenly exclaimed, "Chun Chong is here. Why are you standing alone in the cold? Please come inside." Surprised, I quickly went to see. Indeed, Chun Chong stood alone at the palace gate, his nose red from the cold and his cheeks pale, silently staring. I asked anxiously, "Chunner, why are you here alone?" Upon hearing me, Chun Chong slowly turned her head, her eyes rolling slowly before she broke into tears, crying out, "Sister Guan, I'm so scared." Seeing her distress, I quickly ushered her into the warm pavilion. Jingqing brought a heater to warm her, and Piner served her hot milk soup to drink before I gently inquired about the matter. After dinner, as the heavy snow lessened, Shi Meiren was leaving Chuanchang's place after sharing a meal. Chunchang was escorting her back when a lantern carried by Shi Meiren's mate caught fire from the wind. At that moment, Miaoying lady, riding in the Fenghuan spring favor carriage, passed by. The horses, startled by the fire, despite the coachman's skilled handling, jolted the carriage, slightly shaking Miaoying lady. Normally, it wouldn't be a big deal, but Miaoying lady, already displeased by her lower status and resentful of Shi Meiren's earlier court entry and higher rank, exacerbated by Miaoying's recent favoritism, was unforgiving. In her anger, she ordered Shi Meiren to be locked in the punishment room, a place for disgraced concubines and erring servants to endure hard labor. Surprised, I realized Shi Meiren, neither demoted nor guilty of any wrongdoing, should not have been subjected to such punishment. I urgently asked, was the emperor or empress's decree sought? Didn't they say anything? Chunchang, wiping away tears, shook her head in confusion. Miaoying lady claimed it was a trivial matter not worth troubling the emperor and empress, warning that disturbing them would implicate the palace guards. I was astonished at Miaoying lady's audacity to imprison a royal concubine without imperial consent, an unprecedented act of arrogance. A smile crept upon my lips, then vanished just as quickly. Such arrogance, born from favoritism and careless conduct, was a sign her days of favor were numbered. I comforted Chunchang and had Xiao Lianzi and Piner escort her back. It was unfortunate for her to experience such fright at a young age in the palace. The next morning, Mei Zhuang and Lingrong arrived early. I was having breakfast and greeted them with a smile, joking about their timely visit for Jinxi's excellent bone marrow tea soup. Mei Zhuang remarked, "You're the only one who can afford to be at ease. The palace is in an uproar." I sipped my tea soup and smiled. "Even you're getting anxious?" Lingrong asked. "Did you hear last night's singing?" I smiled, of course. Miaoying lady truly lives up to her reputation with her enchanting voice. Mei Zhuang stayed silent for a moment before saying, "Her favoritism has led her to arrogance. She had Shi Meiren, who once shared your quarters, thrown into the punishment room." I smiled. "That's good news." "Good news." Mei Zhuang frowned slightly. Lingrong also looked puzzled. Her sudden favor has already displeased many in the harem. Such indiscretion only hastens her downfall, better than forcing your hand one day. I continued. Such lack of self-discipline shows her folly. She poses no threat to your position. You can rest easy. I raised my cup. "Isn't this a cause for celebration?" Mei Zhuang replied. "But the emperor hasn't punished her yet. And she's close to Huafei." I calmly said, "It's only a matter of time." Yesterday's incident embarrassed the imperial couple and disrupted the harem's hierarchy. Even Huafei can't save her now. Besides, Huafei is too wise to involve herself in this mess. Lingrong added, "Given her favor, Huafei might not be comfortable either. Why would she help her?" She raised her cup. "I'll drink to this with tea instead of wine." Mei Zhuang, now smiling, couldn't refuse. Sure enough, by afternoon, the emperor ordered Shi Meiren's release from the punishment room, soothing her with kindness. Meanwhile, Miaoying lady was ordered to reflect in confinement for 10 days, stripped of her Miaoan title. Although still a 7th rank lady, the loss of her title significantly affected her status.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.